This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, questions, go ahead.
Hi, Francis.
Hi, Baruch.
I wanted to ask a question about the correlation between residues of ignorance in the body and the content of dreams in the dream state. In other words, if a body is stabilized and has no more residues, would there still be dreams with negative content? From a slight negative content to a nightmare, it doesn't have to be a big nightmare, just, sometimes it's just unpleasant dreams.
No nightmares, no. But dreams not that different from waking life events, if you will. I think that it could be argued that some of our dreams are simply unresolved issues during the waking state that try to find their resolution during the dream. So if we have residues from the past, for instance, in my case, and I haven't had this dream for a long time, but a few years ago, I dreamt that I had resumed smoking. And I was unhappy about it. You see? So that doesn't qualify as a nightmare. It doesn't qualify either as a pleasant dream.
Okay.
And it's not different from problem you have in the waking state, that practical issues that you can have with some addiction, some people have. I mean, chemical addiction or not psychological addiction, or an issue you have with your house, with something non-psychological, with your health, it's not necessarily something pleasant, positive, but it's not the end of the world either.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a worrisome thing.
Okay. Thank you.
What has to be clearly understood about what can be called liberation is that liberation doesn't liberate us from the pesky little problems we may have. Liberation doesn't liberate us from the presence of mosquitoes. Unless you're in South California, where we don't have mosquitoes. But in many other parts of the world, it doesn't liberate you from mosquitoes. And there are many things, from toothaches and so, and lower back pain and whatever. So what it liberates us from is this deep existential fear, this fear of absolute disappearance, or this fear of bleak afterlife. So that's what it liberates us from. This, but small pesky worries, no, of course.
Okay. Thank you, Francis.
Hi, Francis. It's Rachna here.
Rachna.
Hi, may I ask? It's not so much a question. Something odd happened the other night, and I just wanted to try and understand it. So I was falling asleep, and maybe in some halfway stage, and I. Oh, I'm sorry. There's.
Mary, please mute your mic. Mary Fisher. Okay, go ahead, Rachna.
And I had this experience where I heard snoring, and the thought came to me, but who is snoring? And there was, it's just me. I'm not married, no boyfriend, so it's just me in bed. And then I was like, oh, but that's me. And I recounted it to my dad, who wasn't very excited by it, but I thought that it felt significant to me, as if I was experiencing myself, but from a slightly more background.
Distant place, right?
Yeah. And it came along a little bit after, in the week there was a gentleman who you had a discussion with where you were talking about the fact that we never come in contact with the world, we only come in contact with our perceptions of the world. And then at that time I thought, if that's true, then I never come into contact with my body. I only come into contact with the perception of my body, so with bodily perception.
Yes.
And so I don't know if the two are related, but it was an interesting experience, which kind of made me laugh, if that's the first kind of experience I'm going to have of understanding myself through the experience of snoring, but hey ho.
Yeah, but I don't see that experience as more significant than any other perception of your body.
Okay.
But any perception of your body may become significant when you realize, if at that moment you realize this distance, yes. That in a sense it's not me, that it's like I'm witnessing the snoring of another person, you see?
Yeah. It felt like that, because
so then that establishes this distinction between your body and your perceptions and you as awareness.
And I think the reason that I wanted to ask you about it is because I do realize that I'm still looking a bit for fireworks. And so, there's a part of me that was thinking, did I want to believe that experience to be something that it might not have been? But I think you've kind of said yes. I mean, there was a sense of distance there that.
Yeah, you see, because of what happened in this case, it was something unusual. It was new, right?
Yeah.
And every time we experience something new, it enables us to take a new, fresh look at the situation. So it puts back into play, if you will, the implicit assumptions we constantly make during our daily life. It puts in question the usual business as usual interpretation of our perceptions.
Right.
So you realize, wow, yes, there is this distance, yes, between me awareness and the events. Because it is new, we are fresh, we are facing a fresh new situation. So then, in the light of our understanding of truth, which is working kind behind the scenes, then we are more able to see it from this different perspective.
Thank you. And with that, presumably I just carry on, as in don't do anything special. I really enjoy the meditations, so I come to those and I just carry on, right?
Try to, as you deepen your understanding, as you become more and more certain of it, you will try to apply it in your life and in all aspects of your life. So yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yes, Amna.
Yeah. So I have an attraction towards women, and I reject that. And could you help me with that?
Nothing wrong with that. We are all different. Some past culture have ostracized this type of situations. We are all different. We are all different flowers on the meadow. It's all normal. It's all natural. Don't worry. I wouldn't worry about it. And those who think otherwise, I would tell them, up yours. They are not your friends. They don't love you. So stick to those who love you.
I come from a Middle Eastern culture, and so that's not acceptable.
Yeah. What can I say? Do your best. Move to the West. Do your best. What can I say? You know, you have to accept your situation. That's the first thing to do. Understand you're not alone. And do your best, given your circumstance. Use your intelligence, use your heart, connect with the world through the internet, connect with other people.
I've been trying to, sorry.
I'm sure there are like-minded souls, you know, who could talk to you over the internet and give you assistance, you know, and perhaps find solutions.
I've been trying to use non-duality to like detach from that or get rid of that.
Oh no, that's not. Non-duality is to love yourself the way you are first, because it's to welcome everything we are, because things that some of us see as imperfections, in fact, they are simply the details that make us different, like different flowers have different colors, sizes, shapes, and there is a harmony in all of that. You know, everything is natural. because everything is part of nature. So to try to contrive yourself, I wouldn't go that way. It has nothing to do with non-duality. Is about your fear of death, your fear of absolute disappearance. And if you liberate yourself from that, I'm sure then, and that's a goal. Then in given situation, practical situations that present themselves in your daily life, like this one, you will find appropriate solutions, being guided by your intelligence, being guided by your sense of love and of beauty, of justice, of fairness, all of that counts. And support, find, as I said, like-minded spirit, like-minded women over the internet and so on. You know? Extract yourself, because what happens if we are in a group, in a society, where everybody judges us, etc., we tend to think that the only thing there is in the universe. Some people are stuck in a family, and some women are kept prisoner in a family, not being allowed to go out. And then at some point, they found a way out. And they discovered I was in Canada or I was in the United States. There is freedom out there. But even if you are not in one of those countries, seek freedom. You know, because a freedom is an expression, is a direct expression of truth, of the absolute. So we have to honor freedom for ourselves in our practical life. Find ways, your intelligence, don't be stupid, be diplomatic. You understand, be intelligent, use your intelligence, but don't think that what you have now, the society, the immediate surroundings you have that judge you is all there is in the world. There are nice people in the world. There are beautiful people. We know that here. We know that. We are not going to judge you. We are going to love you, and you are going where you can be able to find also someone who will love you, and hopefully you can share with her. So there is hope. Just keep hope in your heart, and there will be a way.
Could you say something about the attachment to wanting to being accepted by my family? And
you know, we have two families. We have the family we are born into the first time. And then you have the family in which we are twice born, the second time. The second time is when we are born to love. And this family is a family of people who love. And believe me, this family is much better than the ones we are born into, unless the one we are born into is also a family of people who love. I'm not talking about a family of non-dualists, because that's a small family, but people who love, people who are nice human beings, you find them in many places, you see. And that's important. So I wouldn't care much about people who don't love me. because, you know, there are cacti, you know, there are people who are not that nice, there are jerks everywhere. That's fine. They are the spices of our life. Sometimes spices are a little too hot for digestion, but there are also beautiful people in the world and loving people. And when you have this desire to meet loving people, nice people, beautiful people, this desire will materialize, provided you cooperate with it. You are not able on your own to do everything. But if you take a few steps, you'll see that the universe will help you also in, you know, ways that are unfathomable.
Thank you.
Hello, Francis. This is Mary. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, Mary.
Hi. Good morning.
Good
I've
morning.
been listening to you for several months and very drawn to things that you say, but I'm stuck with fears and sadness about the death of my body, physical body. I'm healthy, but I'm 72. And what scares me is that when our body dies, we lose all of our senses, the things that have allowed us in our life here, you know, to feel and see the rain, to smell roses, swim in the ocean, all of it. And I right now feel that we lose all of that when our bodies die, all of that. So it frightens me to, you know, to lose all of that, to lose all the people we love. And what I'm trying to find out more about is when we lose all of that, I know what's left, as you talk about it, is consciousness, a universal consciousness that's not individualized or personalized in any way, but how to better accept or deal with the loss of all that we lose when we die.
In order to lose something, you need to be different from that which you lose.
Yes.
So if you understand that your reality is not this human body, but that it is much bigger, that it includes everything. You cannot lose anything. Now, in the moment, we seem to lose things, and that's beautiful. For instance, as you were talking, there was a couple of hawks on the sky flying by, and now it's back, one of them. They are beautiful. And as they move out of the window, I lose them. But my losing them is not problematic, because then I can see also other things. The trees, the branches moving in the wind, and new birds coming. So the losing of one thing is necessary for this thing to change, for new things to come. We have to understand that we don't lose the totality, but the totality which we will never lose, because it is our reality, constantly changes. There are small changes from moment to moment, and in life there are big changes. A big change is when we go off to sleep. You are not afraid of going off to sleep, and however, you lose the waking state. You have new objects. And when you lose a thought, you are not afraid of losing the thought because it leads to the understanding of the thought. And there is joy there. So what you have wrong is the belief that that which you love are objects. Birds, trees, mountains, whatever, flowers, your body. We don't love those. We love beauty, we love love. These objects are simply instruments or reminders, instruments that take us, vehicles that take us to the experience of love and beauty. Or they are pointers, reminders of it. What I'm saying is hard to understand because we have the wrong picture of awareness. We have a picture of awareness as being a blank, boring state. Something that lasts forever, and in which, if you were not already dead, you would get bored to death. That's the picture we have of pure awareness. It is difficult to convey the utter falsity of this projection because this blank state is still an object, is still something perceived. Whereas the reality, what we love in nature, in the birds, in the objects, in the loved ones, etc., is present in pure awareness. Nothing is missing. It's just, it's present. It is present in its purest form. So
Okay.
that's all I can say.
Yes, yes.
Your fear is totally unfounded.
Okay, and I know intellectually what you're saying, and I get what you're saying in that regard, but let me just continue a little bit to say, so when our bodies die and we lose our senses, our eyes, our ears, all of it, since we lose the physical world and all the phenomena in it as objects, people, everything, rain, so what's left after that? I'm seeing or describing as just a form of energy. It's a form of energy. But my question is, does, after we die, our physical bodies die and what's left is the consciousness. Does that consciousness know itself, that it's left?
Yes. And not only when we live this, it's like when you wake up from a dream, and in the dream there were people, there was a jungle, there was a tiger, whatever was there in the dream. You leave all of that. Do you miss it?
No.
You may say, yes, I miss it because here I am broken and in the dream I was a billionaire. But it's not in that sense that I say, are you missing it? No, because as you wake up from the dream, you are still yourself. You are still this awareness, you see. So you are not missing everything that was there because everything that was there was not real.
Mm-hmm.
in relation to you. So you are not losing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
However, in this case, in ignorance, you still believe to be this
Yes.
waking subject, right?
Yeah.
So then, as this waking subject, you are subjected to the predicament of being human. Whereas, as you wake up from this dream of ignorance, everything that was perceived as being separate from you, different from you, is clearly an illusion. So you are whole and complete in that sense that you have not lost anything.
Mm-hmm. Not even
Because
the rain or the sun or the...
just not anymore that when you wake up you have lost the jungle or the tiger. They were all you.
Okay.
The jungle and the tiger and the friends appearing in your dream, they were all you. You have not lost them. You don't miss them.
Thank you.
But in addition to that, you have total freedom to do whatever you want, to create whatever you want as an expression of your infinite celebration. So if you miss forms, shapes, it's not a problem for you.
Okay, I hope so.
People are often worried. I'm afraid of what's going to happen when I die. And the answer to that is what is going to happen is what you want to be happening. So be not afraid.
You mean that I want to die when I'm ready to die? That I actually want to die?
After your body dies,
Yes.
what is going to happen is whatever you want to be happening in your universal power. And you will realize that, including the death of your body, of your physical body, that was that which you wanted to be happening. So you won't have any regrets. And you will realize that everything that has happened in your life was just perfect. Everything you have done, apparently done as a person, was just, in fact, you will realize your total innocence. But hopefully, you can realize that before. You don't have to wait for that.
Yes, I'm eager and interested to do that. Thank you, Francis.
Francis?
Yes?
Hello.
Yes, Alexios.
Uh, mm, I would love to hear your words about the the distance between the reality, and my phenomena, and if this is a stage, or I would love to hear some words about this distance you were referring.
Well, you mean in the conversation here?
Yes, before you talked about,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Um, you know, there's three stages. In ignorance, I believe I am an object, a limited object. Either a limited mind or a limited body, a limited body-mind, a limited something. And at some point, I realize I am not an object. So this understanding I'm not an object creates a distance, if you will, a separation between the object I was identifying with and me, because I realize I'm not this object. That's the first moment, if you will. But then there is a second moment when I realize I am no object at all. In the absence of object, I am real. I am real. So the reality of all the objects I used to perceive reveals itself to be my reality. This I am. And as a result, if you will, I am everything because I am the reality of all objects. And then there is no distance, of course, between me and the objects. But it's different from the first position in which I was identifying with one single object, a limited object.
Mm-hmm.
So I move from believing I am this body-mind, an object, and not the rest. I am just this body-mind. To being whatever it is, which is not an object, which is my reality that perceives this body-mind.
Mm-hmm.
To the realization that this reality is in fact, when it sees itself in the absence of all objects, and it sees its reality independently from all objects. It experiences itself as reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then in turn, all the objects that appear are in fact made of this reality. This reality, because there is only one reality, happens to be the reality of everything. So then the distance is abolished again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the Zen, they have this metaphor. They say in the beginning, the mountains are the mountains, the rivers are the rivers. Then during the sadhana or during the glimpse, the mountains are no longer the mountains, the rivers are no longer the rivers. And then at the end, the mountains are the mountains, the rivers are the rivers again. So that corresponds to these three Alexios, also when you come, it's better if you listen through a device like this.
I have one. I have one. But
Yeah, but if you don't listen to a device like this, it creates problems with the sound for
no, I
everybody.
have one plugged right now, but maybe I don't know. I use one now.
You are using one, so because
Yes.
we have a feedback here on the line
I'm sorry.
of some kind.
Sorry. So in the in-between stage, why the mountains are not mountains? What are they?
Well, it is a metaphor,
Yes.
and I was.
So this distance is a step.
It means we go back to life. We are able to live life in a very ordinary way, almost similar as it was before. However, with one big difference, which is that this sense of impending doom has disappeared. So that life becomes a celebration more than a tragedy.
Yes. So thank you very much, Francis.
Hi, Francis.
My friend.
Um, I have just a little sharing thing and then a question. So the other day I was riding my bike, toiling up a hill because the Tour de France is on. So of course you're very inspired. All the cyclists on Earth ride, and in the middle of this, the thought occurred, and it was very clear that this thought was not. I didn't make it up. It just came to me that this is awareness wants this separate self in that moment to be riding a bike up a hill, a pointless activity. And I just laughed out loud. It just seemed like this moment of truth, kind of. It was sort of a weird, fun moment. So anyway, just it's neat, like a snowflake falling, sort of.
I mean, the pointless activities are the best, aren't they?
Yes, yeah. It was really good. So anyway, if I want to experience a separate self, I think what I'd have to do is to get into my car, essentially, and drive over the Santa Cruz Mountains. Because there's always some kind of jerk that does something bad and then I respond, and it so what I mean. So I'm the things that you've said to a few people in the last week.
You mean this highway between San Jose and
Yes,
Santa Cruz?
yeah, that
Yeah,
windy road. Yeah, I drive it a lot, so I know it really well. So anyway, people tend to annoy me there. And you had a conversation with Sylvia a few days ago, and it was, so my understanding is that that jerk, in quotes, who cuts me off is God. And the jerk in my car that's mad at that one is also God. So it seems really silly from that point of view. And yet I dance the dance. And so here's my question. Are sages nice, or are nice people sages? It feels like I'm not. I guess I have my Berkeley hippie wish to be a wise person and to be kind and to be all the good things that we want. And anyway, but I get mad at the guy in the car.
I think sages are happy.
Yeah.
That would be the fault line that separates, if you will, wisdom from ignorance, is to be a happy camper.
Yeah.
So, regarding how people drive, you shouldn't take it personally.
Yeah. I guess I am. I mean, right? I mean, I have to be. You wouldn't, if you didn't take it personally, you'd never be annoyed at anything. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, this is a measure of my lack of wisdom. I guess that's it.
I don't think it's a big problem if someone You know, sometimes I'm distracted, you know, and I do something which is not correct, which is not in accordance to the correct driving rules.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes someone does the same thing to me, and I could feel that I don't like it either. For instance,
Yeah.
being distracted by something, and when the light goes green, wait a little bit,
Right.
and you have
Yep.
someone behind you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the guy,
Yeah.
you know, and then he drives, he passes you and shows you the finger.
Yeah. Yes.
As he
All those
passes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, we are like children, you know.
I know. It almost seems like the separate self takes the boundaries of the car at that point somehow for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Try not to take it personally.
Now, so you have to make a distinction between outrage and anger.
Right.
Sometimes people drive in a fashion which is outrageous.
Right.
Sometimes you just get angry because of me. Why did he do that to me? How did he dare? And sometimes it's difficult to establish what is a part of outrage and what is a part of me. Because let's say, if you are a Swiss German driver, or if you are, depending on whether you are a Swiss German driver or whether you are an Italian driver,
Mm-hmm.
what is considered to be outrageous driving may be quite different.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not even mentioning Indian drivers. You see?
Yeah.
So from the vantage point of the guy, he may just driving as usual, you know, business as usual, nothing abnormal. And from your vantage point, you say, yow,
Yes.
that is
Crazy.
a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in Italy. It's amazing. Anyway. So, okay. Thank you, Francis.
I was driving in Italy the day after they instituted the speed limit on the freeways there. And I was driving, I was behind a truck, and I put my signal to pass the truck because there was a car in my mirror, rear view mirror, and this car was very far behind me.
Yeah.
And so I put my signal, and the next moment the car, whoa!
Yeah.
So much for the Italian speed limit.
Yes. No. It was one of the scariest things was arriving in Italy. Thank you.
Hi, Francis. It's Melanie.
Yes, Melanie.
I was really moved by the discussion yesterday with Gayatri, which was saying faire le pont, like make a bridge between the deep acceptation that, yes, I am awareness, I am consciousness, and I know it without any doubt. And then the bridge to that the one reality of the entire cosmos is consciousness, and therefore I am that. And I'm having trouble making that bridge, as well as, for example, I clearly see now that everything is arising in my awareness, and yet I'm having trouble going that one step further, which is all that I see is made out of my awareness. So, wondering if you can
Yes.
help me with these bridges.
Well, what it hinges upon is this. Is awareness a reality unto itself? Or is it dependent upon a bigger reality? In other words, does awareness need anything else than itself to exist?
No, awareness is not, in my experience, this is, I'm trying to stay with that. Awareness seems sovereign, or having trouble with my English today. Ça jaillit. It's just right there, and it doesn't seem as though it depends on anything. Although I do have one doubt about, for example, when one is unconscious. Seems like the awareness has disappeared, and yet when I regain consciousness after having been, for example, unconscious in a, how do you say, in a, for example, when you get operated on, a drug-induced state, the fact that you don't remember anything of that doesn't mean that the awareness was absent. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm responding correctly, but I know that this awareness seems self-evident and non-moving. That's something that I'm touching a lot more, is a feeling of the awareness is still, and it doesn't seem to change.
Yeah. But I was taking you in a different direction. And the question I was asking is, in your opinion, does awareness depend on an external, a different, a higher reality for its own existence? In other words,
No.
How do you know that?
I don't know how I know that. That's the weird part. It's like, just when I say no, it feels firm. Because how do I know?
Okay, that's fine. It's just for you to know, because let me, however, for those who are listening and may not share your conviction, and perhaps also to reinforce your intuition. Let's assume, for the time being, that awareness is dependent on a higher reality for its very existence.
Okay.
This higher reality could be, for instance, the brain, or could be, and the brain in turn is dependent upon the body, and the body is dependent upon the universe for its very existence. So in that case, awareness would be dependent upon the universe or whatever reality the universe is dependent upon for its very existence.
Okay.
Now, so there will be a bigger reality. That was an example that I gave of a possible bigger reality on which awareness would depend. In this case, if I ask myself the question, awareness is that which perceives. Awareness is me, is what I am. Now, what is it that really perceives? In other words, what is the real me? Is the real me this dependent, impermanent awareness, or is the real me the reality of this awareness? So you will, to put this question in a nutshell, it boils down to the question, what is the reality of awareness? The reality of awareness must be the reality of that which perceives, awareness. But the reality of that which perceives is going to be that which really perceives. Therefore, it is going to be the real awareness. That's why I always define awareness in terms of reality. So the real awareness, therefore, has to be, the reality that perceives has to be me, the real me. So the real me has to be independent from any other reality. That's the first step. The step you have already taken, but which I have explained for other friends, and also to reinforce your intuition. So now I am confident that this awareness that perceives, that I call me, is real, meaning it's not dependent upon anything else. It is not dependent upon anything else. Now, I perceive the world, I perceive the birds, the trees, and all of that. This, either, there are two possibilities. Either I am just making it up, and all I perceive is just a creation of my consciousness awareness within the theater of my own mind, or there is, in which case it's obvious, since I am awareness, I am real, I am the reality of everything that is perceived, right? In this case, it's very obvious. Because that's the next step we are trying to take from I, awareness, am real, to everything I see is me, is made of me, of my reality awareness. That's the step we are trying to take. So, but if everything is mind, and if the reality of mind, which is obviously awareness, then everything I perceive is me, is awareness. Now there is a second possibility, that there is a world out there, there are other objects out there, and which I perceived. And although my perceptions are made of it, are made of me, are made of my awareness, there might be a reality out there that I perceive, other than this awareness, a reality independent from this awareness. And that's where you need to pay attention. In order for this perception of this external reality to be a true perception, there needs to be an interaction between this awareness, this reality that perceives, and the reality of that which is perceived out there. These two realities cannot be separate and isolate from one another. For A, the reality A, to perceive reality B, they have to be connected.
And connection means unity.
Exactly. Connection means that they are the same reality.
Mm.
So
That there's,
now,
yeah,
you go ahead.
I'm thinking that is there an underlying, can we say the same reality, but that there is an underlying common denominator that enables one to be in connection?
Yes, this underlying common denominator is what I call reality. It's awareness. Awareness is underlying, not mind. You see, mind is limited and specific to a human body. But awareness is free from mind in that sense. Mind is dependent and mind is dependent upon awareness for its existence. Body is dependent upon the universe and upon the reality of the universe for its very existence. But the reality of the universe and the reality of awareness, which is awareness itself, are the same. Because if they communicate, if they interact, they are one. So from the vantage of mind, from the vantage point of mind, awareness has an underlying quality, of course. In other words, all the infinity of awareness / reality is not perceived through mind. Mind perceives only a small aspect or part of creation. But the reality that creates this creation and the reality that perceives it is the same. There is only one reality. The problem you're having is that you still superimpose implicitly the limitations of mind onto awareness. So you see still awareness as mind-like, so to speak. So forget about that. See it more as reality-like. See the real aspect of awareness. And a good way to go there is to ask the question, what is the reality of awareness? Meaning, what is it that really perceives? It has to be awareness itself. Therefore, awareness is real.
That's very clear, and perhaps words sometimes get me hung up. I'm thinking intelligence can also be, can intelligence be also a word for awareness? I'm spending a lot of time with trees
Yes.
lately, and I see intelligence in these trees.
How does intelligence manifest? It manifests in the form of understanding.
And also harmony in nature. I find that there's...
How is beauty, what is the experience of beauty? It's very much a form of understanding too. It's a different form of understanding without thoughts. It's directly from the sound to the understanding of beauty, to the experience of beauty. What is the experience of love? Same thing. It's an experience of understanding.
And that understanding is awareness.
Through feelings. And that which understands is awareness. Yes. So ultimately, love, beauty, and intelligence are the experience, as an experience, are the experience of awareness. But the map for you to get rid of this last superimposition of limitations onto awareness is to move from mind to awareness, the witness of the thoughts, to establish the reality of awareness by asking the question, okay, let's assume awareness is not real. What do I mean by the reality of awareness? It is going to be that which truly perceives. Therefore, it is going to be the real awareness. So once you have ascertained for yourself that awareness is real, then awareness is that which perceives the world out there that, as a hypothesis, is deemed to be different and separate. So let's assume, for the sake of the argument, that the world is separate from awareness. Now, because the world is being perceived by awareness, then there is a need for a connection. But we know that awareness is real. So no matter what this connection is, it has to connect with the reality of whatever it is that we perceive, and that was deemed before to be a separate reality as a hypothesis. But then, because of this connection, two realities that are connected are one single reality.
It's crazy
because reality is that which is cause of itself, that which is not dependent upon anything else.
It's just amazing to me how deep the tendency towards separation is.
Yeah, but there is a pill that you can take, which is this two-step reasoning, and every time you take this pill, it removes the sense of separation up until you don't need to take the pill any longer.
So what is the reality of the awareness that is here? What is the ultimate reality of that awareness? That's the question.
Yeah. So what is it? What's the answer?
Awareness. There is no other reality.
Because obviously, because we know that awareness is real. Yeah. We know that very deeply. I cannot prove it to you, but we cannot make it up. Awareness is real.
That's true. Absolutely.
And therefore, if we assume that this awareness depends on a bigger reality, well, this bigger reality will be the reality of awareness then. But then this bigger reality would be the real awareness. Therefore, awareness is its own reality. Mm-hmm. The buck stops with awareness. There is no reality beyond awareness. That's the beauty of it. To persuade yourself that there is no reality beyond awareness, that the buck stops with awareness. Because if there was a reality beyond awareness, this reality would be the awareness we are talking about.
Yeah, it's like a couloir du miroir. It's just reflecting, always reflecting that one awareness. Thank you, Francis. Thank you very much.
Francis?
Yes, Melissa.
Hi. Always so nice to speak with you. So I also was very moved yesterday by the three-step argument that you presented, in which the first step is to recognize that there is, of course, there can only be one reality by the very definition, the very nature of reality, that there can only be one reality, and that reality is being. Again, if it is being. Then in the second step, to realize that it is my awareness that is aware of such, of the reality that is being. And so my awareness must be connected to the one reality. It is hearing these words, and that then the reality of my awareness is what my awareness really is, and that is the real me. And then the third step is then recognizing that the reality of being is the reality of awareness. And then that liberates my awareness from the confines of body and mind. And it occurred to me that perhaps the very nature of the term Sat Chit Ananda is the recognition that Sat equals Chit, being equals awareness. And I had a new insight about what Ananda might then be is liberation. That in the recognition that Sat equals Chit, that equals liberation. In that realization, the freedom arises.
Yes.
So I guess it just remains to keep contemplating, recognizing and contemplating the truth of that as deeply as possible.
Yeah, in Sanskrit, you have Sat, Chit, Ananda, and then Nama, Rupa, which means names and forms, if you will, perceptions and concepts. That's a manifestation, that's a phenomena. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Nama, Rupa. Now, when you understand that Sat and Chit are one, it closes this circle here. So that gives you the mudra of wisdom.
Aha. Yes, thank you. I had not previously understood why it was presented in that form. And so then in the Namarupa is kind of the third step of awakening, I guess.
Yes, there are one that's the Sahaja, is called Sahaja, Samadhi, the natural state, because the things are all different, but if you look at the hand,
yes.
they are one.
Yes. So then then it's not just my knowing my reality, but it's knowing then that everything arising in my awareness.
So then the form is seen as awareness, and awareness is seen as the form. They say the form is seen as emptiness, and emptiness is seen in the form. But emptiness doesn't mean absence of form. It really means awareness. So it's a sacred emptiness, shunya or shunyata. So the emptiness, the awareness is in the form is in the awareness.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So it's the emptiness is infinitely full, full to overflowing. It's very beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's me again.
Alexios.
Uh, Two questions. Sat, sit means existence and consciousness. This is one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That means also truth,
Truth.
but it means in the meaning of that which truly is, that
Mhm.
which is not an illusion, that which is real. So it means reality being that which is.
Upon our previous conversation, might that be that this sense of distance uh, might be a bodily sensation, an identification with a bodily sensation? Because when I try to be knowing what I am, I find that I kind of identify myself with a bodily sensation, and this creates a distance.
Well, when we use the word distance,
Mm-hmm.
the Sanskrit word for that is viveka, which means discrimination. In ignorance, we believe to be a human body, an object. Viveka, discrimination, establishes a distinction between that which is perceived and that which perceives, between that which is an illusion and that which is real, between that which is impermanent and that which is permanent. So, permanent, real, perceiving on the one hand, that's awareness. Impermanent, perceived, and not as real as evidenced by the tiger and the forest we perceive in our dream, refers to the world of phenomena. So when we are identified to an object, a body-mind, the two are together. Discrimination makes a distinction and extracts, if you will, from this body-mind the part which is real, the part which is experiential, the part which is permanent and the part that perceives. That's pure consciousness. So it's not really a distance that gets created any more than when you realize that Santa Claus doesn't exist. That hasn't created all of a sudden a distance. It doesn't put Santa Claus at some distance from your belief. Your beliefs have simply disappeared. So in the same way here, the belief that you were a body mind, through discrimination, you realize, no, I am rather that which perceives, that which is permanent, and that which is real in my human experience. So then you understand the reality of awareness, as we were discussing before. And then the world that appears, because there cannot be two realities, has to be made of this same reality, which is your reality, which shines in each of us as presence and awareness. That's all. Not mind, not mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mind is limited and perceived, and awareness is real and perceives.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Francis.
Thank you,
God bless.
Francis.